Mountain unicycling is one of the sports that is rarely talked about in today's day and age. One wheel rumbling through the technical challenges of the trail.
Oh yeah!
Long ago, a man from Vancouver, British Columbia, by the name of Kris Holm, took a unicycle off-road, which started a new trend, which now is called mountain unicycling.
My name is Kris Holm. I live in Vancouver, Canada, right up by the North Shore Trails, Mount From. I've ridden that area now for over 20 years. I got into mountain unicycling when I was a kid in the mid-1980s. I just saw someone riding. They were a street performer, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I asked for a unicycle for my birthday. Turns out it took me probably about a day to learn how to ride. A long day, my birthday day. And then after that, I was in an outdoorsy family and liked to hike and ski and all that stuff. So for me, I started taking it off-road pretty much right from the beginning. Back in the late 1990s, when I started to ride some harder trails, there still really wasn't any such thing as a commercial mountain unicycle. The sport as a commercial industry just literally didn't exist, and I needed a really good unicycle. The first film I made commercially, I totally broke a unicycle, and I had to look around. I was forced. It was really, I was making one unicycle for me. That was it. And so I found a machine shop that was willing to pay, that was willing to let me pay them shop rates to custom make me a unicycle. Turned out that was right at the beginning of the internet economy. Unicycle.com was getting started, and I was really keen to see the sport grow. And you can't have a sport without unicycles, and you can't have a sport riding where people ride hard trails without good unicycles. And so that first unicycle turned to 2 to 5 a month, all built in Canada initially. And then through one of my sponsors at the time, Norco Bikes, they put me in touch with some larger manufacturing companies overseas. And so today, unicycles are sold in about 15 different countries around the world and manufactured in Taiwan.
Okay. Orange thing is a warning. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, I was trying to like pop.
In some ways, I think I can't tell you my favorite trail because it's always the next trail. And so I think for me personally, in some ways, it's the discovery of the next new trail and the fun trail. It's something that's a different thing. Like, I don't know how many times I've said, well, that was the best trail I've ever ridden, and it was just the latest trail that I've ever ridden. So that's partly that. That said, some do come to mind that were really different. In 2002, I had the chance to travel to the Kingdom of Bhutan and ride across a country that had seen very few Westerners in the areas that we were in. And we were riding these ancient trade routes that had been used to transport goods across the country for thousands of years. And so for me, that was probably one of the more incredible experiences that I've had, because it was technical, beautiful trail, but also had this history and culture that I never normally would get to experience. I moved to Vancouver around 1997, and that, unbeknownst to me at the time, turned out to be really the beginnings of the free ride mountain biking movement. That's when people like Wade Simmons and other early figures in mountain biking were starting to ride the really hard trails on what became world known as some of the hardest trails in the world in the North Shore. I stumbled across those trails on my unicycle. I went up there for a hike one day and was just blown away, and decided that I really needed to come back and ride those on my unicycle. I didn't know any about this scene, but word got out in about 3 weeks that some guy was trying to ride these trails on a unicycle, and so I started getting calls from filmmakers, and so that really was the start of everything. I filmed for a couple of early mountain bike videos that were really popular and big at the time, and then for some film festivals that went on tour. And then from there, it just snowballed really into a career. I had some sponsors and was able to travel and make TV segments in different areas around the world. I think it's going to be, and to some degree is already, a well-known sport, but that's different than having a lot of people do it. And so I don't think it's ever going to be as popular as many sports, partly because most popular sports are easy to do badly. You know, skateboarding is incredibly difficult at a high level, but just about anybody can teeter their way down the street on a skateboard. It's not that hard. Just do the beginnings. Whereas unicycling, most people just can't do it at all, and that's a barrier. So I don't think it's going to be all that popular, but nor do I really care. It's fun that it's unique, and that's part of what builds such a cool culture around it.